Maid of honor toast. Everyone thought this would be the part where I cried, thanked my soul sister, best friend for always having my back, and told a cute story about how she pushed me to give my fiancé a chance. They didn't know she'd been sleeping with him behind my back for months. Chapter 1, My Perfect Duo. If you'd asked anyone in that room who my person was, they wouldn't have said my fiancé. They would have said Hannah. We met in our first week of college, two broke girls in an overcrowded dorm laundry room, bonding over burnt popcorn and the fact we both hated our roommates. Within a month, we were sharing clothes. Within a year, she had a key to my apartment. And within 3 years, she knew every stupid decision I'd ever made with men. She was there for all the worst versions of me, the drunk, crying on the bathroom floor version, the I swear I'm done with him, and then texting him anyway version, the version who decided love was too exhausting, and maybe I'd just be the fun aunt for the rest of my life. So when I met Adam, it felt right that she got to meet him first. We ran into him at a mutual friend's game night. He beat everyone at codenames, made Hannah laugh so hard she snorted, and walked me to my car even though his was closer to the door. The next morning she texted me, "If you don't at least try with this one, I'm staging an intervention." They clicked immediately. He loved that I came with a built-in best friend. She loved that he actually listened when she talked about her job, instead of just flirting to get closer to me. It became a running joke. We're a package deal, I'd say, wrapping an arm around both of them. Buy one, get one chaotic brunette free. When Adam proposed 4 years later, string lights, rooftop, the whole cliche, I called Hannah before I called my mother. She cried louder than I did. By the time we told everyone else, she'd already volunteered herself as maid of honor. "I've been preparing for this since 2012, she said, pulling out a Pinterest board she swore she'd made just for fun. She helped me with everything. Dress shopping when my mom couldn't fly in. Venue visits when Adam's work trips ran long. Vendor calls, deposit reminders, spreadsheets, group chats. It got to the point where vendors would call her first and then loop me in. Honestly, it's like we're all planning this wedding together, she said one night, tipsy on Prosecco on my couch, her head on my shoulder. Adam stretched out with his feet in her lap. The three of us. I thought it was sweet. I took a photo of us and captioned it, "My forever people." I did not know, looking at that picture, that I was the only one keeping my promises. 2. The red flags I ignored looking back. The first red flag was stupidly small. We were at a tasting with the caterer, arguing about whether we needed a late-night snack station. I joked that if we did sliders, everybody would end up passed out on the dance floor. "Speak for yourself," Hannah said. "Some of us have stamina." Adam choked on his drink. It was weird enough that I glanced between them. They both laughed a little too hard. "Sorry," she said quickly. "That came out wrong. I let it go. I was tired. I was working full-time, trying to plan a wedding on evenings and weekends, and my brain had a generous filter labeled, 'Don't be that bride.' So when I started noticing other things, I pushed them through that filter too. The way their text thread was always above mine on his phone when he showed me something funny. The inside jokes I didn't quite get references to songs and restaurants from nights I wasn't there for. The time I walked into our living room and found them sitting too close on the couch, their legs touching, whispering about something that went dead silent the second they noticed me. "What are you guys talking about?" I asked, dropping my keys in the bowl. "Nothing," they said in unison. Another time, I complained to Adam that Hannah had been snapping at me all week over little things, centerpieces, seating charts, stupid stuff. He didn't roll his eyes or groan the way most guys do when you mention friend drama. He got defensive. "She's under a lot of stress too, you know," he said. "You should cut her some slack. She's doing so much for this wedding." It lodged in my chest the way a fishbone catches in your throat. Tiny, irritating, hard to get out. Still, when I brought it up with her half joking, half testing the waters, she hugged me and said I was just deep in bride brain and she loved me. "I would never do anything to hurt you," she said, eyes shiny. And because I'd known her longer than I'd known him, I believed her. Until the night my phone died at the worst possible time. How I caught them, it was a Tuesday, 3 weeks before the wedding. Adam was out grabbing drinks with the guys after work. Hannah had told me she was doing a self-care night and turning her phone off. I was alone on the couch, half watching some trash reality show, half answering emails when my phone died mid-scroll. The charger in the living room had been glitchy for weeks, so I went into Adam's office to grab his. His laptop was open on the desk. Normally, he closed it when he left, more out of habit than secrecy. This time, he hadn't. I wouldn't have cared if not for the fact that I saw my own name on the screen as I walked past. It was a tiny notification in the corner, a backup alert from our shared smart home system. New audio file saved bedroom 2113. We de-installed the smart speaker in the bedroom for music and alarms. We'd never used the microphone feature on purpose. I frowned, plugged my phone in, and clicked the notification. The file opened in a little browser player. It was only 32 seconds long. For the first 3 seconds, there was nothing but rustling fabric. Then I heard his voice. Adam, very clearly not alone. He laughed, a low, private sound I'd never heard in public, and said, "You're going to get me in so much trouble." Then she spoke. "Hannah, relax," she whispered. "She'll never know." The next 10 seconds were the kind of sounds you don't mistake for anything else. A muffled moan, a bed creaking, my fiancé gasping her name. Not mine. I slammed the laptop shut so hard one of the keys popped off. My heart was pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. For a full minute, I just stood there, staring at my reflection in the dark screen. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the laptop through the window. I wanted to rewind my entire life back to that laundry room and walk out before I ever learned her name. Instead, I opened the computer again with shaking hands, navigated back to the file, and hit download. I put it on a USB drive. Then I pulled up the smart home app and checked the history. It wasn't one file. It was a list. Short clips, always around the same time of night, always labeled bedroom. My stomach turned. I didn't listen to any more. I didn't need details. I had a confession on audio in their own voices. When Adam came home an hour later, I was sitting on the couch with my eyes closed, fake asleep. He kissed my forehead. "Long day," he murmured. "Yeah," I said, forcing my voice to sound tired instead of raw. "How were the guys?" "Good," he said. "Just normal wedding is expensive complaining." I nodded and rolled away. In the morning, Hannah texted our group chat like nothing had happened. "HANNAH, can we move the florist appointment?" My boss dumped a presentation on me. For Thursday, my thumb hovered over her name. I could have confronted her right then. Instead, something in me went very, very calm. 3 weeks. The wedding was paid for. Family had booked flights. Vendors were lined up, deposits non-refundable. If I called everything off now, I would get apologies, maybe sympathy, and a pile of cancellation fees. They would get privacy, a quiet breakup, a story they could reframe however they wanted. She overreacted. She's always been insecure. It was just one time. I looked at the little USB drive on the coffee table, at our carefully printed seating chart, at the empty line in my ceremony notes where the maid of honor toast would go. And for the first time since I'd heard their voices in my bedroom, the corners of my mouth twitched up. No, they didn't deserve privacy. They deserved honesty, loud, clear, and on a microphone. That afternoon, I opened a new document on my laptop and typed, "Maid of Honor Toast." Then, underneath, I wrote the line that would change everything. "Since you two love spending time alone together, I thought everyone should hear what that sounds like. For planning the perfect speech people talk about, snapping when they find out they've been cheated on, crying on the bathroom floor, throwing rings into rivers, burning clothes on the lawn." I didn't snap. I split. Half of me wanted to curl up and disappear. The other half, the one that had spent months organizing spreadsheets and timelines and vendor deposits, quietly started planning my revenge with the same precision I'd used to plan my seating chart. First, I made copies. The audio file from the bedroom went on 2 USB drives and a cloud folder under a boring name. I deleted it from the smart home history so they wouldn't see the log and get suspicious. Then I rehearsed. I listened to the clip with headphones on while I typed, hands shaking so hard the first draft of my speech was almost unreadable. I forced myself to hear the whole 32 seconds again and again, until it stopped feeling like a stab and started feeling like evidence. You can't argue with your own voice. 2 weeks before the wedding, I bought a small portable speaker for the reception games. Or at least that's what I told Hannah when she saw the package on my counter. She laughed. "Oh my God, are we doing karaoke?" she asked. "You know I'm going to embarrass you." "Yeah," I said, smiling. "I'm counting on it." The night before the wedding, while Adam was at the rehearsal dinner venue helping the guys load in some audio equipment, I went early to drop off the favors. I slipped the speaker into the space under the head table, where the floor-length linen would hide it, checked the Bluetooth connection from my phone, pressed play for half a second, just enough to hear the faintest rustle, then killed the volume. No one in the empty hall even looked up. On the drive home, my mom called. "Baby, are you really okay?" she asked. "You sound tired." "I'm just nervous," I said, which was technically true. My stomach had been doing somersaults for days. I woke up shaking. My hands were clammy constantly. I wasn't sure if it was heartbreak, rage, adrenaline, or all three. Part of me kept waiting for them to slip, for one of them to confess. But they didn't. If anything, they got bolder. Hannah sent me a selfie of the two of them at the rehearsal dinner, his arms slung casually over her shoulders. "Practicing my speech," she captioned it. Adam texted me later, "You're going to love what she's planning. You picked the right maid of honor." I stared at their messages side by side. Then I opened the Notes app and rewrote the first line of my own speech one more time. 5. The wedding speech exposed them. The ceremony itself was almost cruel in how beautiful it was. Sunset, light pouring through the windows. My father crying as he walked me down the aisle. Adam's voice catching when he said, "I choose you." I said the words back, not because I meant them anymore, but because this wasn't the moment. He looked at me like I was his entire world. Hannah stood behind me, holding my bouquet, eyes shining. If someone had taken a photo right then, you'd think we were the happiest trio on earth. I sometimes wish there had been cameras pointed at their faces instead. By the time we reached the reception, everyone was drunk on food, champagne, and sentimentality. We did the first dance. We did the parent dances. We did the cake cutting where he smeared frosting on my nose and kissed it off, and everyone clapped like we were a movie. Then the DJ tapped the mic. "All right, everyone, let's give it up for our maid of honor, Hannah." The room erupted. She stood, smoothed her dress, and came around to the front of the head table, phone in hand. Her speech was exactly what you'd expect. Funny stories about college. The time I puked in her boots after too many tequila shots. The night she first met Adam and texted me, "If you don't marry this man, I will." Everyone laughed. I forced my lips into a smile and sipped my champagne. She ended with, "I've never seen two people more perfect for each other. To my best friend and her soulmate, may your love always be this strong." She raised her glass. People awed, we clinked. I hugged her, and for half a second, I felt her body relax against mine like nothing was wrong. Then I stepped back, took the mic from her, and watched confusion flicker across her face. The DJ blinked. "We do have the bride's speech next," he said, recovering quickly. "So, let's hear from her." The room clapped again. I turned to face them. "Hi," I said, and my voice came out steadier than I felt. I wasn't actually supposed to give a speech tonight, but after hearing such a beautiful toast from my maid of honor, I realized there's a part of our love story most of you don't know. I heard a few playful oohs. Gossip radar activated. I smiled. Everyone always talks about how Hannah introduced me to Adam, how she pushed me to give him a chance, how the three of us have been inseparable. Nods around the room. I saw my mother wiping her eyes again. What people don't know, I continued, is just how close these two got while they were helping me plan this wedding. A little ripple went through the guests. Beside me, Adam shifted in his seat. Hannah's smile faltered, just barely. I looked at them both. "Since you two love spending time alone together," I said, "I thought it was only fair everyone got to hear what that sounds like." I reached down under the tablecloth and flipped the switch on the hidden speaker. Then I tapped my phone. At first, all you could hear was the clink of cutlery and distant laughter. Then the audio kicked in. Rustling sheets. A male voice, Adam's voice, laughing, low and intimate. "You're going to get me in so much trouble." A female voice, Hannah's, whispering, "Relax, she'll never know." The room went dead silent. Someone near the back actually gasped out loud. I didn't look away from their faces. Adam went white, then red, then white again. He lurched forward, reaching for the table edge, trying to find the speaker. Hannah stood frozen, hands clamped over her mouth, eyes wide. The moan that followed was unmistakable. My name was nowhere in it. It lasted only a few seconds before Adam found the speaker and yanked the cord, cutting the audio mid-breath. But it didn't matter. The damage was done. "What the hell is this?" he hissed, too loud for just me to hear. "That," I said into the mic, "is what happens when my fiancé and my maid of honor forget our smart home system backs up audio." Chairs scraped. Someone swore under their breath. My father stood up so fast his chair toppled backward. My mother's hand flew to her chest. At a table near the front, Hannah's parents stared at her like they'd never seen her before. "Baby, we can," Adam started, reaching for my arm. I stepped away. "There will be no explanations," I said, still speaking into the mic. "You didn't have the courage to tell me in private, so I did you the favor of sharing your truth in public." I slipped the ring off my finger, held it up so the light caught it. "Consider this my official notice that the wedding is over," I said. "Enjoy the reception. You've already had your honeymoon." I set the ring on the tablecloth in front of him, placed the mic down gently so it didn't screech. Then I turned, picked up my dress, and walked out of my own reception to the sound of 100 people trying to decide whether to clap, cry, or follow me. 6 aftermath, I didn't look back until I hit the hallway. My cousin caught up with me first, heels clicking on the tile. "Where are you going?" she panted. Do you want us to come?" I took a breath. I felt all the way down to my shoes. "Yes," I said. "Anyone who's here for me can leave now. The food S paid for, they can eat it without me." Word travels faster than any DJ announcement. By the time I made it to the parking lot, a small crowd had formed around me, my parents, a few friends, my aunt shoving a pair of flats into my hands. Inside, voices rose and fell. At one point, we heard someone shout, "How could you?" followed by what sounded suspiciously like a slap. I didn't go back to check. Adam texted me 30 times that night. "We need to talk." Wasn't what it sounded like. "You humiliated us. Can we at least do this privately?" Hannah called me once, then switched to paragraphs. "You ruined my life. It was just a mistake. You don't understand what I was going through." I muted them both. The next morning, I posted one simple message on social media. "Wedding is off. Found out my fiancé and maid of honor were having an affair. Please respect my privacy while I figure out my next steps." No extra details. No names. No audio. The people who needed context had been in the room. Within a week, their world started to shrink. Her job caught wind of the story. Someone who'd attended the wedding worked there with her. Suddenly, she was the dependable team player. She was the woman who slept with her best friend's fiancé. His family, who'd always adored me, stopped defending him mid-sentence when they realized I had proof. My parents, who had once worried I was too soft, were the ones who helped me box his things and move them into storage. There were practical headaches. Canceling the honeymoon. Calling vendors about what, if anything, could be refunded, returning gifts and explaining why there was no thank you card coming. But underneath all of that was an odd, steady calm. I had not saved the relationship. I had saved myself. Months later, someone sent me a screenshot of a post Hannah made about losing a friend over one mistake, and how women should support women instead of tearing each other down. I blocked her from every corner of my life, because here's what I learned. Real friends don't need you to ignore your own reality to protect their image. Real partners don't make you feel crazy for noticing what's right in front of you. And if anyone ever makes you feel guilty for wanting proof, believe your gut twice. My wedding didn't end with a happily ever after, but my speech did exactly what it needed to do. It ended the lie. All right, that's the end of this story, but now it's your turn. What would you have done in my place? Would you have exposed them in public or handled it quietly? Do you think I went too far or not far enough? Drop your honest take in the comments. I read as many as possible, and your POV might end up in a future episode. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit like so more people see it. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next insane story. And share this video with that one friend who loves a good revenge plot. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Until next time, protect your peace and trust your gut.